ever fallen in love with a stranger or a fictional character, here's a poem called Not Ripe Yet, or Banana Man for short. I saw a man in Tesco choosing bananas like it was a philosophical exercise. He tilted his head, turned the bunch slowly, like all the writing might be on the other side. He was late 20s, maybe early 30s, that sweet spot where boys become stories of men and not always their father. Probably listens to ambient techno and Joni Mitchell, definitely reads Baldwin. Wears vintage jumpers with holes in the elbows, beautiful in a quietly confident way. Floppy brown hair, silver ring on his thumb, tattoo peeking out beneath his sleeve. Curious. He looked like he writes poetry in a notes app, but also absolutely rails. You know the type. The tattoo is either a quote from his favourite book or a Pokemon. Hard to tell. Broad shoulders, in that boy who has hugged his dad once kind of way. Soft wrists that knew how to stir risotto without overthinking it. Thighs that push soundscapes of Greek tragedy into ears. Belly like a safe place to confess everything and get crumbs on your jumper. A beefy otter twink hybrid in the wild, not unheard of. Probably lifts, definitely cries. Smells like fig and tobacco, and tastes like a very minor threat to your nervous system. The kind of man who could kiss you in a library and then ruin your week with a carefully curated playlist. And I stood frozen in the fruit aisle, holding a punnet of plums. Not those plums, but close enough. Plums as alibi, plums as prayer. Plums that tell me he's forgotten the safe word. The kind of offering that either rots in the fridge or gets eaten by Banana Man in bed post-bliss, while we rewatch Dead Poet Society and pretend we've never cried at the bit where they stand on the desks. Convinced I'd just witnessed the romantic and semi-erotic soft launch of a fictional character I'm now fully in love with. He had the kind of forearms that make you rethink your 5-year plan. Hands like they know where every version of you is hidden, in the kitchen, in the bed, in the past. When he lifted the banana to examine it, his t-shirt stretched just slightly across his bicep, and for a nanosecond I reconsidered my entire future, like jobs, cities, surnames. I blacked out for 3 to 5 business minutes, and woke up somewhere in our imaginary kitchen, sharing a pasta sauce we made from scratch, and the grief we never talk about on dates. And it didn't stop there. We lived 20-something years in a heartbeat, which is centuries in gay years. We shared coat pockets, secrets, colds. We danced in the kitchen without music, just the rhythm of knowing someone might be watching. We got quiet in the best kind of way. The kind that feels like trust. The kind that settles like dust on shared things. But this comfort calcifies. We stopped asking each other about dreams. Left poems half finished in separate compartments of the washing basket. Laughed less and paused more. You flinched when I touched your back. I stopped reaching first. And when we unravelled, because all love, real or imagined, eventually learns how, they happen slowly, with kindness. No storm, no slammed doors, just the quiet choreography of letting go. Our books parted reluctantly, except the ones we dog-eared during arguments. Those always feel like souvenirs of a life well lived. It wasn't messy, just sad, like the last hot shower before the knackered old boiler packs in. An ending like distant fog rolling up a cul-de-sac, like toast softly cooling in the dark. It was a breakup without violence, just the soft, mournful undoing of maybe. And I know none of it happened, that it was all a projection, a daydream, a coping mechanism in the fruit and veg aisle. But doesn't everyone do that? Don't we all sketch our salvation onto strangers holding ripe things? A longing so universal it could be sold loose by weight. He walked away, bananas in hand, back muscles doing quiet things beneath his cotton t-shirt. I did not follow. I respected his mythological side quest for canned goods. Instead, I wandered off to the freezer section, replayed our entire non-history, cried briefly by the Ben & Jerry's, not because of the price, but because no one will ever know how good we were together, in my head where it mattered most. Because sometimes love isn't real. It's not meant to be. It's just the soft, fruit-adjacent ache of remembering you still have a body, a ridiculous, reverent, kissable body, and a heart that will keep making up men until one of them makes up a version of you in the same aisle. If you enjoyed this chaotic, fruity nonsense, there's plenty more poetry where that came from over on my Substack or elsewhere on social media. Enjoy.